a question posed to me several times this week, what is a medical manufacturer doing at ARC? And, for me, it's really about getting out of our industry and understanding what other groups are doing. And I'm going to share with you today what we're doing on the medical side as well. So, Victor Colbrese, I work for Medtronic. Medtronic is one of the largest medical manufacturers in the world. We serve a patient about every 30 seconds. So that gives you kind of an idea what the size of Medtronic. If you've heard of Medtronic, it's probably around pacemakers. Medtronic was actually founded developing the pacemaker. So it's not the only part of the business. Medtronic's into many different areas of technology and therapies. So Medtronic split into 4 major business groups. I come from the cardiovascular side, or the heart side, where we take care of the patient's heart. You can kind of see in the background there and on the diagram there, it's really all the equipment around keeping a patient alive while the heart is stopped and they're operating on the heart. So all the products that keep the patient alive is essentially what I take care of. What we do in the structural heart world is we manage blood. It's all about blood flow. So a majority of our products don't actually have blood passing through them. We sell disposables that the blood passes through, so it's a one-time use product. So a lot of our revenue is generated from the disposable side of the business, but you can't use the disposables without the hardware, without the capital. So we are the OEM, we are the manufacturer, we also provide service. There's other ways that customers will provide service. One is through their internal biomedical engineers. They have technicians on staff to do that. And then, of course, they always have options for third party as well. I want to speak to that a little bit, what we found out. And about 6 years ago, we did quite a large data analysis. We didn't have a lot of data, but what we did have is, or we didn't have a lot of usage data, but what we did have is the disposable usage data. So we looked at what customers are using, what disposables, and how are they using them. And that helped us simplify who we were. Our strategy really turned into one simple thing, and that is we want to be the provider. We want to be touching more equipment. I'll kind of explain to you how we got there. It was through disposable usage. But what we found out is that our customers who are using Medtronic, the OEM, as providing service, we saw an 8 to 17% increase in product usage. And we believe because these are highly mechanical devices, a lot of spinning parts, they will break it eventually. What we believe is it's a perception of quality. And so what we found is if we were taking care of the product, the mean time to failure was 3 years. If somebody else was taking care of the product, the mean time to failure was about a year, which kind of falls right into our PM schedule. We have a pretty rigorous PM schedule that we do on some products every 6 months, on other products 1 year. So about at that 18-month time frame is when we're seeing our products fail out there if they're not well maintained. So you can see from our perspective, it was really about, we've got to be the providers. Medtronic is really built around economic value. As you guys hear on the news all the time, cost of healthcare is going through the roof, right? So Medtronic's whole strive is to reduce costs. And we're doing that also with service, and I'll kind of explain to you how we're doing that. So we did all of this analysis. We then said, how do we deploy this message worldwide to all our customers? How do we provide visibility to our customers? How do we gain visibility to who our customers are? I mean, with my division, there's about 500,000 devices out there. Total Medtronic, there's over 2 million installed products out there. So, how do we gain visibility to where all that product is at? And then how do we measure success? So back in February 2014, we deployed ServiceMax. We actually sent, our main customer in the hospital is the perfusionist. That's the guy that runs all the equipment in the room. We send out a monthly mailer to them, let them know what Medtronic's up to. And In 2014, February 2014, we launched ServiceMax. What I want to share with you guys real quickly is how that transformed our business. So, one of the major drivers that we knew is if we were touching more equipment, of course, our revenue is going to go up. So that's probably one of our primary goals was to watch our revenue. I'll talk about drivers and then some other performance gains we got as a result of implementing ServiceMax as well. So our revenue growth in service, our fiscal year runs through May and April. I don't have FY18 up there, but right now we're running at about 20%. So what you're seeing here is the orange solid line there was our average revenue growth prior to ServiceMax, and the gray dotted line is our average install base growth. So we're below our average install base growth, but the dramatic increase that we saw in revenue growth was really around giving our technicians the visibility to where all this equipment was, right? So they could call in these customers. Based on now having full visibility, we were able to target those customers, create opportunities for our technicians to follow up on, making sure we're doing our contract renewals on time. Customer value statement, I'll show you guys a little bit about that. And then our economic value story. So if Medtronic is taking care of the product, what we found is that we can save the customer up to 35% of their annual repair costs if Medtronic does it versus if they do it. And it's really all around delays in downtime of that product. Because if you don't use some of our therapies, as an example, if you guys are ever going to surgery and you're going to lose a lot of blood, write this down. It's called autotransfusion. That therapy, what we do is when you cut the patient open, you bleed, right? We collect that blood, clean it, and put it back in you. So you never have to. Prior to that, if you lost too much blood, what happens is you get somebody else's blood. There's a lot of complications that come with that. So we always want people using our therapies, and we can show them the cost that uptime costs you, or downtime costs you a lot of money. So we're always talking about uptime. So yeah, I mean, I talked about this real briefly here, but the beauty of this system is it gave our technicians the visibility, and we focused our technicians in the right direction. So every team member, so if, I'm a big proponent, if you want to change behavior, you got to measure it, right? So every team member in our organization has a personalized dashboard that measures all their goals that they have for the year. So it's a big challenge. They challenge each other to make those goals. So it's quite impressive. Some other side benefits that we got, our fix rates went from 89% to 98%. What we found out really quickly is all this data we were collecting, we really weren't doing anything with, but ServiceMax provides us now a knowledge center that technicians can put in keywords, find out solutions that other technicians did, and also shows them the parts that they need to have on hand before they show up. This is a value statement we give to our customers. So that thing I talked about earlier, where we're saving the customers on average of 35%. This is a value statement we give to them every year before they renew their contracts. We show them all the activity we did and what the savings was in real dollars to them. So these go out just prior to contract renewals. So we're really moving our technicians away from service engineers and moving them into more of a consultant type role, and talking to our customers and finding ways, or actually they're working with our customers to find the cheapest method to maintain their products, right? So that's what we're all about. That's where we're headed now. Some other gains, our efficiency improved. We're actually touching 17% more equipment with the same resources. And that really is around the main thing was ServiceMax is a nice system that it allows you to customize it to fit your workflow. So for us, it was a lot of workflow. We did a lot of upfront planning and requirements gathering, mapped out our workflow, and then matched ServiceMax to what our technicians do. Of course, we do a lot of traveling, and it wasn't uncommon to have somebody doing a PM on one side of the state and driving to the next side of the state the next day, and then back the other day, the following day. So a lot of this visibility gave us, helped us increase our efficiencies. Our on-time contractual obligations, that's where we show up and do our preventive maintenance, whether it's 6 months or a year, went from 87% to 100%, 17 quarters straight now. So our inventory accuracy, every year we do an annual count. It went from 85% to 99.7% in the first year. Our part availability to our technicians went from 92% to 99%. That was really mainly around, our install base differs based on the territory. So we looked at what their install base was, and we set up their inventories appropriately to match their equipment that they're working on. That really helped us out. And our total on-hand inventory decreased by 30% in the field. And for us, we operate in a very highly regulated environment from the FDA. There were a lot of compliance concerns that we had that we were able to close 100% with our systems. So where are we going next? So, we're striving for 100% uptime. The risk of failure in this environment is high, right? So there's always backups to backups, but we want patients receiving our therapy that we can offer. So we're now moving beyond preventive maintenance. I was corrected this morning. I think it's called characterization, but I still like the word predictive maintenance. Our first phase is really characterizing our devices in the field and making recommendations on changes. We are looking at IoT, but the hospital environment is very difficult to transmit in. A lot of sensitive equipment. There's a lot of hoops that we'll have to get through to get there, but that's where we want to get to in the near future. So we were the first group to go, about 200 users, the cardiovascular group. We're now in the process of deploying that worldwide to our four other groups. So we'll have a total user base of about 2,500 service technicians around the world. That's happening as I speak right now. So for us, working with our customers, it's confidence. It's putting confidence in their back pocket. They know that they have a good working product, right? So for those of you that are customers and not necessarily an OEM, the thing you have to think about when you're deciding on who's going to take care of your products, and this is a conversation we have with our customer. Don't forget that we have a lot of resources that we can tap into that you don't necessarily have as a customer or a third-party group. We got research and development. We got clinical. There's the resources at Medtronic are so vast that we can fix just about anything. So, and we use Net Provider Score as one of our main indicators, and it's on the increase as well. So, Ralph, you kind of touched on this, but as an OEM or as a customer, these are the things we talk to our customers about. These are the things you need to consider. How are you going to keep somebody trained and knowledgeable? All the specialty test equipment, the parts you're going to have on hand, or the shipping costs. We have all kinds of loaners available that we can have there within sometimes hours, depending on the location. And then technical service updates, software and stuff like that. Who's going to maintain that? How are you going to do that? A lot of things to consider as a customer. So, Ralph, I don't know if I used my 20 minutes, but I got through it. So we're really about high standards, and that's a little bit about Medtronic.